So, okay, David Pakman. This is the video I put out yesterday. I put out a little short. Put out a short on my channel after discovering this just bullshit that he was spewing about the DSA and whatnot, and it really it checks out for him and everything. Let's just watch this real quick. And actually, now that you actually have the fucking audio.
Hey everybody, hope you're staying cool out there. Today is Saturday, July 25th, 2026. And I think I'll be going live tomorrow, Sunday, July 26th.
Here we are.
So I need to touch upon a very prominent liberal YouTuber, self-proclaimed social democrat, one Mr. David Pakman. Now, he actually recently put out a video that was very critical of the DSA, but there's just like no substance to it, like whatsoever. And
what a miracle!
It's very interesting to me because, especially in recent years, and especially during this second Trump term, his content has been very clickbaity and rightfully critical of the Trump administration in a variety of ways, which is, good. Like, there needs to be more of that. Like, there's honestly not enough being said about how much damage and harm he's doing to the country. But it's to an absurd degree sometimes. It's like Trump is over. Like, this is the final nail. Like or Trump administration official destroyed. Just that kind of low tier, low effort crap. But if David Pakman's thing, if his whole motivation and all his content centers around the dangers of Trump and the dangers of the Trump administration and their authoritarianism and fascism, why in the fuck would he, as a giant supporter of the Democratic Party, like huge Democrat, undermine or throw cold water on the momentum of the DSA and the victories that the Democratic Socialists of America have been achieving?
Yeah, like I said before, when the audio was totally fucked, this is like the whole crux of the issue. This is like the main thing that highlights the insincerity of David Pakman as a fucking whole. And we'll get more into that when we cover his video here in a second.
You would think, because the thing is, these are the most like anti-authoritarian candidates that you can get. These are the most these are bringing a lot of energy to the party because the party's freaking dead. Like, who in the party is actually bringing a lot of momentum and energy and fire towards this authoritarian hellscape that we find ourselves in? Yet you're going to sit there and like warn about the dangers of these folks instead, whereas like these are the only people bringing hope to the Democrats right now. Yet you're doing the Trump administration's bidding by casting doubt on them,
by punching left. Really, he really is like it's just total fucking hypocrisy. Let's go ahead and bring up his channel here so you see exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, just endless videos about Trump and very clickbaity, brutally confronted. Video Trump is painful to watch. Trump is one sick fuck. Whoops, did he just end Trump's chances? And it's just all fucking clickbait. But the video we're going to be covering is this. This one doesn't actually have as much attention as it should. Well, actually, it's probably a good thing to be honest, because of what he says in this fucking clip. It's very much bullshit. But let's take this apart piece by piece, and because he follows us up. This isn't over. A lot of people are not happy with him. I mean, the chorus thing was one thing, but it's just this is a whole nother level.
Watch the whole video, listen to the whole segment before you send me hate mail. You know when it starts that way, it's going to be good. Listen, the Democratic Party is showing the early signs of the same disease that destroyed the Republican Party.
So, right off the bat, his claim is that the Democrats are showing signs of the disease that destroyed the Republican Party. What the fuck is he talking about? The Republican Party that's just steamrolling the entire country right now? The Republican Party that has been completely emboldened the past decade? The Republican Party that has been wildly successful in implementing and achieving their agenda? Like, what exactly is the comparison right here? The comparison is he's trying to frame, and we'll get further into it, but this framing implies that this takeover of the Democratic Party, which I mean it's in its early stages, I suppose you could say, but it's been in the works for a fucking decade. The Tea Party happened in just a few years. You know, so he's trying to frame it in the way that these are equal takeovers, and that the Democratic Party is bound for doom and failure, like the Republicans, which is an assessment that is hilarious and it's misleading. Let's continue.
I've got so many friends on the left texting me and saying, David, we're not going to allow the same thing to happen on the left that Trump did to MAGA, that Trump and MAGA did to Republicans, are we? Republicans back in 2010, their leaders laughed at the Tea Party. Conspiracy theorists, they're far-right internet trolls, they're not going to do anything.
And here's the thing, right? Trump and MAGA have done just a number on this country. They have reshaped the Republican Party as it is, without a doubt. But the thing is, the Republican Party is only as successful in implementing its far-right and fascistic agenda as Trump allows. To the extent that Trump is at all competent, because he's actually he's obviously an incompetent figure. If it was anybody else who actually had the charisma that he did, but is as effective and likable, because he's historically unpopular, then the Republican Party would be basically the uniparty at this point. I firmly believe that. I do believe, like, if it wasn't for Trump, like even more of Project 2025, for example, will be implemented. Even though Trump has been molded as this figurehead, just to spearhead this movement, to spearhead this agenda, yet he's actively in the way of a whole lot of it as well, ironically enough.
And then the Tea Party took over local organizations, threatened primaries, built their own media universe, and eventually were part of a process that gave us Donald Trump.
Now, how is that exactly similar to the DSA? The DSA doesn't have a media network. The DSA doesn't have fucking hundreds of millions of dollars in money backing them in their media and in their campaigns and in their races and shit, because they're not backed by the wealthy. The left, by definition, the leftists are not backed by big money. So he's still trying to like weave this comparison between the Tea Party of the Republicans and what the DSA is doing to the Democrats, and it's only similar in one thing: changing the makeup of the party, not where those movements actually come from.
The left and Democrats can't make the same mistake. There is a small group of far left extremists gaining influence inside youth groups and party organizations because they spend all day online organizing and enforcing ideological purity and attacking anyone who disagrees. Now, let me be very clear. I am not talking about people who want Medicare for all and
that's the problem. You are
affordable housing. I want all that stuff. I'm with all that stuff.
Okay, so then you should support these people who are winning these races who are DSA backed.
I'm a social democrat in the style of Northern Europe. Of course I want those things. These are folks who treat political warfare like a full-time job.
This was the funniest thing that I when I first heard this, it occurred to me that, oh, well, this just gives the entire game away. That this is it right here. So think about what he's saying right here. Think about what he's saying. Like, these are people who demand ideological purity and treat politics as if it's this full-time job. You know, these people who spend all their time online and organizing online. Because, like, for one, where the fuck else are you going to organize? Like, that's you know, that's where everybody is. That's where everybody gets their information and shit. But also, what is with the resentment here? Is it because these DSA-backed candidates and whatnot, are they able to champion the message, like the progressive message, as it were, a lot more effectively than the establishment Democrats? Like, it is, because that seems to me that seems to be, to me at least, the issue. Because you can sit there all you want and whine about, like, you know, the label of democratic socialism and whatnot, and maybe you don't like a couple figures within the movement, but the fact remains, David, that these are the people getting elected. These are the people whose message is resonating with voters. Bernie Sanders, who you supported back in 2016, he's the one that started this political revolution. He's the one that he called himself a democratic socialist. And, like, maybe back then it kind of hurt him. Maybe back then it wasn't exactly it probably wasn't the right move politically, but it was normalizing the idea, normalizing the ideology. Because, I mean, for one, it's like, the movement itself wasn't about Bernie to begin with, and he's never been the guy who is like, oh, this should all be about me, Bernie Sanders, and it's not, and that's the point. There are a lot of, like, people who are considered progressives, like Jasmine Crockett, who made their entire campaign about themselves rather than the people who support her, the people who believe in the issues that she said that she would fight for. You know, it's a lot more than personality and ego, and that's what Bernie represented, an actual movement that championed the ideas, the policies. So he says the people who treat political warfare like a full-time job, it really gives away the game, because he sees politics, ladies and gentlemen, as more of a hobby and a nuisance rather than something that is negatively affecting the lives of millions, fucking hundreds of millions of people every day. But like in this country, like obviously millions upon millions of people, because these are all people who are a lot less privileged than he is. They are not as well off, yet they have a whole bunch of grievances that this modern Democratic Party has still not addressed properly. So, of course, like there's resentment here. Let's not get it twisted. Let's get back into it.
And when they can't build their own coalition,
Which
they attach themselves to popular causes. They take real concerns about healthcare, housing, police misconduct, and use them to sell what is actually an authoritarian worldview.
Now this is this claim is doing a hell of a lot of heavy lifting. I need citations for this, and I don't think he really even provides them. So this is the resentment I was talking about. He is upset that people are using these issues that obviously the voters believe in and voted these people in to accomplish. He's resenting the fact that they're running as Democrats, that they're winning as Democrats. I'm sorry, David, but like, don't we want these ideas to go forward? If they are beating other Democrats in primaries, Democrats who don't champion those things, affordable housing, Medicare for all, etc., what does that say about those establishment-backed Democrats? They're not going to fucking fight for that shit. So, like, you can't have it both ways.
Now, there are things in DSA, for example, Democratic Socialists of America, that are good and that I agree with. But there's also some stuff in there that I think doesn't make any sense. I saw their new platform promises a country where you have no debt.
I know that's you.
You pay no rent, no mortgage. You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education. A country where you have no debt. You pay no rent, no mortgage. You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education, energy, medicine, transportation. And it sounds incredible because it is incredible. How would they create it? Government ownership of the largest corporations and of entire industries, universal rent control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate and replacing our political.
He's literally just repeating what Mike Johnson said. It's like, okay, wait. So how do these things tie into what he was just saying? Let's run that back just one more time.
You receive publicly funded housing, publicly funded retirement, food, education, energy, medicine, transportation, and it sounds incredible because it is incredible.
Is it though? Is it that incredible?
How would they create it? Government ownership of the largest corporations and of entire industries.
Yeah, which, I mean, public ownership, like democratized means of production, is that so absurd?
Universal rent control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate and replacing our...
Okay, now where the fuck did all that come from? Now, okay, don't get me wrong. There are a couple of DSA candidates who have, they've espoused those beliefs, abolishing the police and prisons and the Senate and whatever, but that's not exactly necessary to achieve all the things that you just listed out. And you're pointing to cherry-picked extreme examples. And not to mention, these candidates are not being elected for their beliefs on abolishing prisons or the Senate or law enforcement. They're being elected because they're championing Medicare for all and affordable housing at the forefront of their campaigns. They're championing economic populism and the fact that the system is rigged against the working class, the common worker, the working families. Not fucking abolishing the like prisons, dude. Ethereal Heathen, thank you for tuning in. He said in one of his recent videos that he's not for social democracy, but he does not. That is one of his recent videos that he's for social democracy, right? But he does not support democratic socialism. Is that not the same thing? Any nuances? Thank you for covering this. So the way I see it, the way I would I guess distinguish between the two, and he does it in his own way, is social democracy, like I guess Kyle Kalinske explains, because I think he does it in the best way, is the furthest left you can go while still maintaining capitalism. So heavy regulation and a higher taxation and a stronger social safety nets. That's basically the gist of it. Basically, like a kind of a welfare state, I guess you could say. There's so much wealth being created in the United States that nobody should be going hungry. Nobody should be homeless. Nobody should be struggling just to put food on the table or pay their rent or whatever. And social democracies like in the Nordic states, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Iceland, they have a lot more regimented economies that make sure that people actually don't go homeless. That's essentially what social democracy is. Democratic socialism goes a step further, and it's basically that all of that, but the means of production and the market, as it were, the free market, is a lot more regulated as well. So that way, workers essentially have a bit more say in their in how corporations are ran. The workplace is a lot more democratized. And of course, if you are a capitalist liberal, or if you're a conservative for that matter, but that goes without saying, of course, you don't support these things. Because capital rules. Capital is like the fundamental end all be all right now as it stands today, and it's gotten so bad, guys. I really do believe that we are kind of like at a point of no return when it comes to capitalism and its over financialization of basically everything. I think we've reached a point in human history where the needs of capital have now outweighed humanity's global cooperation and the collective ability of our own self-preservation. That's why I support, like, even like if electoralism is going to survive, if democracy is going to survive in any meaningful way, it's important that DSA candidates get elected because of these fucking reasons. Now let's continue.
Control, abolishing police and prisons, and abolishing the Senate, and replacing our political system. Some of these ideas are reasonable to a degree. For example, I support universal health care, and I've talked about 4 or 5 ways that we could get to it.
Is Gavin Newsom going to do it for you? Did you ask him about it in your little chit chat with him?
I want affordable housing. And I've done a dozen interviews with housing experts on what would and wouldn't work to get us there. I support progressive taxation. We need to collect more taxes from the very rich.
Good.
Voting rights have been hurt in this country. We need police reform. So there's elements of this that are great.
Now, what about campaign finance reform or immigration reform? Those are a couple big important things as well. Campaign finance reform especially is something I really want him to expand on a little bit, because I don't think he has any problem whatsoever with Democrats taking bribes from special interests and corporations and super PACs. And I think he has a history of making that clear. But we'll get to a bit more of that.
Great. And any social democrat like me will tell you we got to do that. But you bundle it together, and this fantasy in which capitalism, private industry, and major parts of the government simply disappear, most Americans don't want that. Most Americans...
No one's saying that, though. Do you actually hear anybody, these DSA-backed candidates, or Zoran Mamdani, or fucking even AOC or Bernie? Do you hear them saying these things?
And this fantasy in which capitalism, private industry, and major parts of the government simply disappear, most Americans don't want that.
No one's actually championing that, though. This is just fucking dishonesty. Where is this actually coming from?
Most Americans understand that there is no way that you could impose that without extraordinary authoritarianism. My one hesitation about confronting this now, and why I went back and forth, is the midterms. Publicly exposing the rot could make moderate voters think the entire Democratic Party has been infected. But I don't think silence is really going to hide it.
Okay, so exposing the rot, which we agree there's rot within the Democratic Party. So exposing the rot, you think is going to turn people away from the Democrats rather than electing Democrats to replace those rotten Democrats. Because this is, I remember back in 2020, this was like the biggest thing when it came to getting Trump out of office and whatnot. Do we want revolution or do we want reform? Do we think a third party would be the most feasible for this endeavor, or do we think it would just be better to take over the Democratic Party? Most people chose the latter, taking over the Democratic Party and actually getting candidates in there that champion progressive and socialist ideals. Now that that's actually happening, rather than just straight out revolution, rather than straight up like revolution, it's a problem. Like, we're pointing out the rot, we're weeding out the rot, we're kicking out multi-year, like several term Democrats who have been there for years and years and years, and replacing them with Democratic socialists that actually champion these progressive ideas. And that's a problem now? Like, let's continue.
I saw a crazy thing from the weekend where there was a college Democrats convention, which I was actually invited to participate in, and I couldn't make it. Hassan Piker was dressed like Mao, and I guess Destiny tried to show up, and he was banned from entering allegedly because the Mao-dressed Piker didn't want him there.
I mean, it's this right here just goes to show he doesn't actually know what the fuck he's talking about, for one, and two, no, like Sex Pestany is a known harasser. He would just been there to stir up shit, and this claim that Hassan Piker was responsible for seeing him out, I don't think that's exactly accurate. But imagine going to bat. Like even just like out of context, you don't even know like the full context of the situation. Going to bat for Sex Pestany.
Republicans are going to put these clips everywhere. Like,
and that's the concern. Here's the thing, David. Here's the thing. Republicans for the longest fucking time have correlated liberals and leftists. For the longest fucking time, you are not beating the commie allegations. Like, it doesn't matter how hard you try to distinguish yourself from the actual left. The Republicans will still consider you to be an irredeemable commie. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. So you continuing to punch to your left. What does it actually accomplish? What are you trying to accomplish here? Like, who gives a fuck what the Republicans think, dude? Who gives a fuck what they say?
People seem crazy when they see this stuff, and they are going to take abolish the police and abolish borders and abolish prisons and play them on a loop for 6 months.
Who gives a fuck, dude? And again, these candidates did not win because of those things. And if you were an honest actor, if you actually cared about defending the Democratic Party and actually championing these progressive ideas, you would make that clear. These candidates won because of those things that you support: Medicare for all, better education, immigration reform, fucking affordable housing, affordable a standard of living, the cost of living, getting the cost of living down and shit. But no, you point to these absurdities and these cherry-picked extremities, and you apply it to the entire DSA, like the DSA in general, and their candidates who continue winning. You're just doing the right's job for them. You're doing the job of the Republican Party for them. You're feeding into their propaganda rather than standing for your own goddamn principles, which I'm not even fucking convinced you have any.
If I were an average voter with no knowledge of these online personalities, which most of these people are, most people don't follow this sort of thing. They're busy living their lives and working and doing all this stuff.
Then do your fucking job to educate them. Like I understand. Okay, you play your role, right? You have over 3.6 million subscribers. Your entire thing is look at how absurdly bad the Trump administration is, and it's honestly to a point where it's just like it's all clickbait. So it's like how serious do you think that you can be taken? Like sure, there's plenty to go off of, but when you approach it in a way that's like Trump derangement syndrome or whatever, like that's how a lot of people who aren't already sympathetic to liberals and Democrats are going to see it. There's a balancing act to this shit, but you can't just sit there and act like a few loonies that you would only like stories and ideas that you would only know about if you were terminally online. You can't act like that's going to be representative of the entire thing. And you can't blame the Republicans for weaponizing that when they were going to fucking do it anyway. They are chomping at the bit for anything to paint the broad left and the Democratic Party as a whole as radical commies. I mean, fuck. It's like even centrist Pete Buttigieg said, it was either him or Beto O'Rourke, I forget. They already call you socialists anyway. Like, so it doesn't fucking matter if you differentiate yourself from leftists. It doesn't matter if you try to make it seem like you're one of the good Democrats. They don't fucking care. So why should you?
If I were an average voter with no knowledge of these online personalities, I would find these images and a lot of this stuff very alarming. So as I said last week, and so many of you agreed with me, Democrats must act now and intelligently. The centrist don't really do anything.
Got that
make
right.
Very milquetoast fringe suggestions that you don't even really push for.
We agree with that.
Not working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no shit.
This other thing of like end everything, it's a sort of destructive accelerationism. That's also not going to work.
Okay. This is the thing, David. You're listening? You need to bring receipts. You need to make it clear that this is what Democrats are actually voting for, and this is what these DSA-backed candidates are actually championing. Like ending everything. What fucking? Oh God! No more bottled water. No more fucking calling 911. No more mustard. No more fucking street lights, no more stoplights, no more like if we're talking about everything, what exactly are we referring to in particular? Like, this is just blatant, genuine dishonesty. It's lazy as fuck, and I'm glad that enough people are not fucking falling for it, because it's really just so fucking old at this point.
So I think that what we need here are no apologetics for dictatorship, no apologetics for authoritarianism.
But if you really want to trigger the Republicans and just get under their skin, like, isn't that just like, wouldn't it, it's kind of funny, is it not? Like, stop taking it so seriously. Focus on what actually matters. If you agree, that policy and ideas and championing progressive policies are what matter the most, then don't get caught up in the silly shit, the non-serious shit, dude. Especially if you can't like actually give clear-cut examples and pretend that that's applicable to a broad coalition of leftists that are running in the Democratic Party.
Work. So I think that what we need here are no apologetics for dictatorship, no apologetics for authoritarianism, no harassment, no anti-Semitism, no allowing online factions to decide which liberals may enter the room. You know,
what anti-Semitism? Huh? What anti-Semitism are we referring to, David? By anti-Semitism, do you mean opposing genocide? Because that was a big thing. That was a big to do with you and the left broadly, David. Was your tacit support or just feigned ignorance of what Israel's been doing to Gaza, and not just the past 3 years, but for its entire history.
Would I even have been allowed at that college Democrats thing? They invited me months ago. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't go, so we didn't find out.
Here's the thing. Why don't you go next time and actually talk to these Democratic socialists? Why don't you? You know what? Why don't you talk to Hassan Piker? Like, you don't have to like the guy, but at least he's consistent in his ideals and he doesn't let off the gas. You know, he's like everybody's favorite punching bag, left, right, middle, where like whatever the fuck. Why don't you talk to him? Since the Democrats want to like prop him up to be like the kingmaker and shit. Why can't you? I'm sure he would be delighted to have you on, or for him to go on your show. But would that interfere with your ability to get inroads with other Democrats or party insiders or pundits or mainstream liberal shows or whatever? Would it affect your ability to be like remain in the good graces of all those big money backed people? I can understand like the conflict you must have like that just resonates within you, David. If it came down to either giving Hassan Piker a platform or going on his platform.
So we just need normal people.
I like it. Thank you, River of Peace. A lot to unpack here indeed.
To participate, join local committees, attend conventions.
Attend and join your local DSA. That goes for all of you. I'm slacking. I gotta join mine, but still.
Get involved with state parties and let's turn the DNC into something that works. Many reasonable people doing a little.
You know, David Hogg actually tried that. And he was basically ousted. He made the head of the DNC cry on a call because he was being shamed for not doing enough. Not even kidding you. Like we actually covered it on the Left Coast Live, which will be streaming Tuesday, by the way, Tuesday evening. It was just like the most pathetic thing I've ever fucking seen. I forget what it was for. It might have had to do with the way the DNC handled the Biden transition, or like the transition from him to Kamala Harris, and how Kamala Harris didn't do enough. It might have been regarding Israel, Gaza, but I forget it.
can defeat both the centrist do-nothings and the hardcore extremists who would get nothing done. Republicans believed they were going to control the extreme.
This is like a quintessential, bona fide, word-for-word DNC establishment shill fucking elitist talking point. So you can either have, and he's contradicting himself too. Okay, are they like do-nothing centrists, or are they not? Are they the ones that actually can get shit done? Because you're saying here, let's run that back a little bit.
Reasonable people doing a little can defeat both the centrist do-nothings and the hardcore extremists who would get nothing done.
Okay, so you're saying that there's room in the middle for someone in the middle of the centrist do-nothings and the quote-unquote extremists that you like to, label the DSA as for some reason. There's actually a middle faction like in there of people who can actually get stuff done. Okay, where do you draw that line? And who are we referring to? Can you give some examples? Oh, I got an example for you. I got a great example for you, Mr. David Pakman. Let's actually bring this up here. I got a fantastic example. Is this who you're referring to? Why am I logged out of this? Let me actually bring this up. This is actually very, very telling. It's actually quite funny. And so if DSA candidates can't actually get anything done, but the do-nothing centrists can't get anything done either, like, who are we talking about? Are we talking about this guy? Here, let me bring this up here. Are we talking about this guy, Mr. Richie Torres? Come on. Go on, let's play. Oh, it can't be played? What the hell is that about? Okay, well, he says, David Pakman tells Representative Richie Torres, when people ask me, who do you see right now as the sort of progressive that you like to be at the head of this movement going forward, I think of you. Richie fucking Torres. Richie Torres. The guy who's taken millions from AIPAC to do the bidding of Israel, who has gone to bat for Israel and has justified and defended their extermination of the Gazans, their starving of Gaza, their war crimes, their ethnic cleansing of the Gaza Strip. Is this the guy you're talking about, David? Oh man, the Democratic Party sure is in good hands after all. You've reassured me, Mr. Pakman. You've reassured me that maybe we don't need a DSA after all. Let's finish this.
Republicans believed they were going to control the extremists. They were like, we got these people under control. The extremists took over the party. Democrats can still prevent that outcome, but we've got to get them to get things under control right now. I've said before, I've never been a Democrat. I don't care about the Democratic Party.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. You're like one of the biggest cheerleaders. You have Democrats on all the time. And sure, so do actual leftist channels like the Majority Report. But like, how can you sit if, like, what lane do you actually sit in? Like what lane does Richie Torres operate within the Democratic Party? Like when it comes to progressives, he's the one that you think of. Like, what does that say about you? It's just fucking vile.
Who offers the better candidates, and usually it's Democrats over Republicans. But we've got to make sure that we don't allow that party, if it is the vessel, at least for now, to something better than what Republicans are offering, to be hijacked. This is about let's include, but not allow any extreme faction to take over.
He's doing so much in terms of just mental gymnastics right now.
And that is what I think makes the most sense. Can it be done reasonably and without self-inflicted damage between now and the midterms?
So
I don't know. I hope so. Thanks for.
So here's the thing. We got another clip that we are going to cover here from him in a second. But think about like what exactly he is. Throughout the whole clip, not once did he actually give any examples of DSA candidates actually championing these extreme ideas like abolishing prisons and abolishing the police and whatnot, and yet he acts as though that is representative of the entire organization. It's just blatant dishonesty. It's just fucking lazy, and he's using that similar to the way that the Republicans do in their propaganda to dismiss the entire DSA movement, the Democratic Socialists in general. Like, if that's not being a stooge for the Democratic Party, I don't know what the fuck is. Like, you are like, that is like as clear cut as like you can get in terms of saying who and who shouldn't be part of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party doesn't have any fucking Democratic Socialists in it. It's full of liberals. It's full of centrists, more accurately, and conservatives. Because, like, even the quote-unquote liberals aren't actually liberal enough. They believe in illiberal things. Like Adam Smith, when he went on Breaking Points to talk with Crystal Ball. That was something.